congratulations for winning the 2022 National Private Sector Excellence Awards in the name of the Netcare Hospital. We're very proud for the submission. I've got a panel around with me, Mr. Nkosi from the ACPM and Prevent Naika from the ACPM Exco. We just have a couple of questions for you just to dive a little bit deeper into the project that you've done, and just off the knuckle, give us your truest out of the heart answers. We'll really appreciate that. Just to kick off from my side, Netcare Hospital. We've seen the nice pictures that were presented earlier on during the awards. What I want to know basically is, all the pretty pictures are fine, but there's always some issues on projects, right? So we want to dive into that part now to understand what were a couple of the difficulties that you faced on that specific project, Yaku.
I think it's been a long road on the project as such, and some of the difficulties that we did find was the ground conditions in that area is quite bad. And obviously, you know, when you go into piling and stuff, it does have its own challenges, but we had problems with ground conditions. You know, we were halfway through the basement when we decided with the client that the building needs to turn 30 degrees, which means suddenly you redesign the basement halfway through. You know, there's reasons for that. We had the community that we had to involve in the project, which was in the beginning quite challenging, but you know, after we've set up the various structures and got the right people around the table, I think we were very lucky that we didn't have any stoppages or serious stoppages on the project as such. I'm not going to talk about COVID, you know, that was a stumble block on its own. But you know, the good thing about that is that you learn to work with different, getting through that portions of the construction. Rain, the standard stuff, but I think the biggest thing that we had was at the end where we had to make sure our commissioning is done in a proper sequence. It is a hospital, you've got various different systems that talks to one another, and that was probably one of the biggest challenges to get through that portion and give the client what he wants. So yeah, that was, I would think, just in a nutshell, the challenges we've had.
Great stuff. And of course, with the challenges as well, there's also positive highlights. Being it a hospital, obviously a care facility, after having completed the project and you look back at it, what then would you say is the positive highlights that have come out of the project? I know you sweated during COVID, you had SMME issues, you had funding problems and the likes, but at the end of it all, what would you say are the positives that have come out of the project?
You know, still getting through the project or the building at this point is nice to see the community use of the project and the facility. It's amazing to actually see you know, the amount of people that comes through that facility. It's nice to hear that the systems are working. You've got your problems here and there, but it's nice to see all of that fits into it. And in the bigger precinct, you know, we talked about this building being inside the precinct, how that fits into the bigger Alberton community. It is a flagship facility for Netcare, and you know, if you drive onto it, you see it. If you walk inside, you can feel it. And I think that's what's nice about it. The feedback that we're getting through the hospital from the users, the end users, is also very positive. So, as I said, it's been a long road for them to get to that point, and now the facility is there, they're using it, and yeah, so far so good. It's positive from that end.
Great stuff, great stuff. Yeah.
Maybe if I can just add to that as well, as he said, we started with the main contractor on site, I think around November 2019. So while we're in the thick of building, COVID coming, you can't go on site anymore. Thankfully, through the use of technology, we were able to implement what is called open space technology. Essentially, I would go around site with a 360-degree camera on my head. It would geotag everywhere I'm walking on the actual drawing itself, so people could access site remotely without having to be there. So we find all these solutions to problems as you go as well. So
Great stuff.
Right.
Great stuff. I'll hand over to Mr. Nkosi, who is going to ask you certain questions in directions to technology and innovation.
Yeah.
I think you've started already. Mr. Nkosi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ihako and Kucho. Congratulations for winning the award and for the sterling work that you did on the Netcare Alberton hospital. You started, you know. Could you tell us a bit more in terms of you know, the innovative ways that you employed on the project to overcome some of the challenges or complexities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from my side, being also a champion for BIM and smart technologies at Profica, I'm always more than willing and always suggesting ways to try and manage projects better, be it through BIM as well. So we did use BIM 360 on the project.
Right.
And that was sort of suggested after we had issues with coordinations, right? We were getting to the services, coordinating it was a bit tricky. We wanted a platform where everybody could collaborate, models could be live, you'd know that you're working on the most accurate details. So we did implement BIM 360 on there as well. Like I mentioned, open space technology, other platforms like Netcare, eventually when it came to snagging too. And yeah, many of the technological aspects where how the very building itself runs. So your BMS systems that you'd have on there as well, how you have sensors for every single thing so that the building can be more efficient. It knows what consumption is going, what's happening everywhere there. So that was actually great to see. Yeah.
Thank you, Kucha, for that. Let me hand you over to Mr. Priven Naika.
Oh, thank you, Anthony. Congratulations, guys. I think well done. So, hospital facility is one of the most complex when it comes to services and services coordination. So you mentioned a few systems and things. How did you have a specific methodology in how you manage the services coordination, specifically between your various different consultants, your mechanical, electrical, gas, all of those things? Did you put in a system in terms of coordination? How did you go about doing it?
Yeah, so if I can touch on that and then I'll give it to Yaku. We specifically moved to BIM 360 for the coordination part. Again, it's a cloud-based platform where everybody has access to it and everything there is live and it's the true version of everything that we're working with, including models as well. We would try and have sessions every Friday where the architect who was leading the coordination part of it would make sure she receives all the models from everybody and then she sort of consolidates it into the live one. So every Friday we had to make sure from the different consultants, please send in your model, make sure it's the most updated, and then we'll work off from there as well. So those are some of the things we're using to try and alleviate that.
Yeah, the good thing about technology, it doesn't take the on-site innovative away. So although you've done all this coordination, there's always a pipe that's in the way for
No, so that was my next question. With all this technology, how many beams are on the way for a duct or a pipe?
It's actually amazing how you can sort it out on site with a piece of paper as old school. So the technology, there's definitely a space for it, and that's the good thing about it. You know, you can plan a lot of the stuff up front and make sure that it works. That small tweaks that you do, you still go and do it on site. So I will say a hospital is nothing more than a normal building with a bit more services.
Yes.
So, if you can find the route for the gas pipe, you can find the route for the electrical ducting and
Fire protection.
Yeah, so
sure.
it's about everybody needs to buy into it. That's the main thing. If everybody buys into the technology, then it comes.
And tell me, did you have a client medical specialist on the project in terms of requirements, specialist equipment fit outs and things like that?
Yeah, so we had a company that assisted us with the planning and the commissioning of the medical side of things. Obviously, there's a lot of integration between the medical equipment and the building. You can't just think it's like you put a bed and then it stands up. So in the theatre specifically, there's a lot of integration that takes place. So there was a specialist company in there, and it's good to actually see from the brief to the design, to the physical commissioning of the systems, how it actually works together. When the first patient goes to the theatre, you're like, we've done it. It's actually amazing what a feeling.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Great stuff, guys.
Thank you.
I think we've reached the end. We don't want to grill you too much. We want you to go and enjoy and celebrate your award. Once again, we just want to say congratulations and well done.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Good job.
Good job. Well done.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.